Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Tina Suri. In this video, I'm about to present my explanation. The title is Words and Meaning, which has 4 subtopics. I'm going to explain about words and meaning. Words and meanings are linked, but they are not identical. They are separate but linked domains. So what does that mean? Some findings conclude that words and meanings are related but separate entities. There are 3 arguments that make this point. The first one, we got the translation argument. The translation argument states that any given language includes some words that do not depend on meaning for their existence and some meanings for which there are no single words. For example, many words that exist in other languages that do not have an equivalent word in English. For example, a word sclap. A word sclap is a word that describes to move a heavy and bulky item from one place to another. Since we have the meaning but not the word in English, a word cannot be identical to its meaning. We can get one without the other. Next, the imperfect mapping illustration states that a given language can have meanings for a specific word and many different words for a given meaning. Some strings of letters or phonemes have multiple meanings or ambiguity, and some meanings have many words or synonyms. For example, a given language can have meanings for a specific word. We can take watch as the example. Watch, it can be a noun or a verb, depends on the context. So the word is watch, but it has more than one meaning, and then many different words for a given meaning. For example, the synonym of smart is clever, and then beautiful is pretty, and many more. And then we have the elasticity argument. Elasticity argument illustrates that a word meaning can change in different contexts. The meaning of a word is not a fixed thing but varies with its context of use. Since the meaning of a word is not simply a function of the word, it cannot be that a word and its meaning are identical. For example, I'm going to explain in bahasa. Misalnya, kita sedang berada di tempat makan. Lalu kita tanya pada teman kita, kamu pesan apa? Terus dia jawab, aku mie ayam. Dalam tata bahasa, kata aku mie ayam menyatakan bahwa dia adalah mie ayam. Tetapi jika kita melihat atau mengetahui konteks pembicaraannya, maka kita akan mengetahui bahwa kalimat aku mie ayam maknanya adalah dia memesan makanan mie ayam. Itulah mengapa dalam elasticity argument menggambarkan bahwa makna suatu kalimat bisa berubah tergantung dengan konteksnya, konteks pembicaraannya. Let's go on to our second subtopic, the study of word. What is word? Word is a unit of language consisting of one or more spoken sounds or their written representation that function as a principal carrier of meaning. A word works as a symbol to represent or refer to something or someone in language to communicate a specific meaning. When we study about the word, we will discuss about morphology, about morpheme, which is divided into free and bound morpheme. Free morpheme is a morpheme that can stand alone, for example, book, table, and then bound morpheme is a morpheme that put it or sticked to other morpheme. For example, un in unbelievable word. So the un is the bound morpheme. Next, lexeme view. The smallest form in which a word is stored in the mental lexicon argues that each word is a separate entry or lexeme in our lexicons and is thus its own primitive. For example, book, books, bookish, bookshelf, and so on. And then the compositional view. When we speak, we access individual morphemes and combine them to make up complex words. The third subtopics, the study of meaning or feature theories. What is meaning and what is meaning made of? One common answer is that meaning is made of features or dimensions. If word works as a symbol, meaning works as a sign. How do we distinguish the sign and the symbol? If we humans use language, especially word to communicate, how about animal? Do you think that animal also use language or don't? Yes, they do. They use language to communicate. Even there is no a single word come out from their mouth, but they still can communicate. For example, a honeybee through its dance communicate the meaning that there's honey in a given direction and a certain distance from the hive. A deer running through the wood with his tail up represents the deer believes that danger is nearby. Neither the honeybee nor the deer needs words to convey meaning. Likewise, nature provides its own instances of meaning without words. These examples of meaning are often known as the natural signs. When we are talking about the study of meaning or feature theories, we will talk about the classical view and then the family resemblance view. The classical view says that a concept is defined by necessary and sufficient features, by some features that it must have are the necessary ones, and by a minimal set of features that are all it needs, or the sufficient ones. For example, all triangles are closed features, have three sides, have angles that add up to 180 degrees. They must have these three features to be triangles. Thus, these features are solely necessary for something to be triangle. And then the family resemblance view says that there is no necessary or jointly sufficient features, but there is a greater or lesser agreement of a concept with its set of possible features. For example, if you are asked to mention some names of birds, you might mention an eagle, a dove, a sparrow, a peacock, owl, and blah blah blah. You mention that names by considering the characteristic that birds should have, such as can fly, lays eggs, has feathers, builds nest. But how about ostrich or penguins that do not fly? Are those birds must have the characteristic in order to be considered as a bird? Even though those birds do not have the characteristic that birds should have, but they still categorized as a bird. So the family resemblance view, it's such as our family. Even though you do not have your mother's eyes, you still your mother's daughter. Even though you do not have your father's nose, you still your father's daughter, and so on. That is the family resemblance view. The last is the reciprocal and influential relationships of words and meaning. The relationship between words as communication symbols and conceptual meaning is a two-way street. Words influence the kind of meanings we can convey, and meanings dictate the development of words, which then spurs development of vocabulary as technology and civilization provide new objects and concepts. Okay, I think that's all about my presentation. I hope this video will be good enough to enrich our knowledge, and I hope this video will be useful for you, especially for me. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.